It is a part of our faith to forgive. We would be forced to leave the colonies if we do not forgive these men.
None of you will listen to reason.
We know that we've not imagined these attacks. We know that we are bruised and terrified.
Hope for the unknown is good. It is better than hatred of the familiar. And we cannot endure any more violence.
That was a clip from the film Women Talking. It's based on the best-selling novel by Canadian Miriam Toews. Now, it follows a group of women in an isolated religious colony who face a series of sexual assaults and gather to discuss how they should respond.
We're really excited to have with us in studio one of the stars of the movie, Toronto actor Michelle McLeod. Welcome to The Social.
To be here. What a great opportunity.
I know, because this film is so powerful.
Yeah.
It covers rage, grief, wisdom, hope. A lot of people are responding to it, including, some predict, including me, Tuesday, Oscar nomination day, this film will turn up for a few of them. Okay. Tell us about your experience working on this film. Tell us about the film first.
Well, the film is called Women Talking, and it is based off of Miriam Toews' novel of the same name. And basically, the novel kind of is a fictional tale about real-life events that happened to this Mennonite colony in Colombia. And it's not really a joyous thing to talk about, because it's about how these women were attacked by the men in the colony. They were tranquilized and unfortunately taken advantage of. And they were made to believe for many years that these were demons coming down and they deserved to be treated that way. And so these women suffered by the hands of the men that they trusted in their colony for many years. And that's the truth of it, and that's what's really terrible about it. But what Miriam did is she did a fictional tale about what would happen if these women had 24 hours to actually think and talk without any men there. And what would they do? Would they stay? Would they stay and fight, or would they leave? So there's, or I should say, do nothing, stay and fight and leave. There's these options now at hand, which the fictional tale is kind of interesting because it opens up a dialogue between the women that they've never been able to have before. And also it kind of gives a voice to the women who in that colony still don't have a voice today.
Wow. So your character, Mayal, is one of the victims of sexual assault. Can you tell us about your character?
Yes, so Mayal, she kind of bridged the gaps between the young and the older generations in the colony, and she's gone through this traumatic experience, and basically the way that she deals with everything, because like trauma, going through trauma, processing trauma, is not something you really learn. No. It's something you have to go through, you have to experience, and you kind of have to learn some key ways to be able to deal with that. So for Mayal, my character, she pushes everything down. There's no language around what happened to her, so she's unable to say how she feels or how she thinks. And so she has a vice. She ends up smoking in the film, which is also kind of interesting because in a Mennonite community, you don't really do that, so she's a bit of a badass, I'm just saying. She's a bit of a badass. But it's a way for her to process her trauma, and she also processes her trauma with things that she doesn't realize, like she has these attacks, these panic attacks. And I don't know if you've ever had a panic attack, but they're incredibly terrifying. I've had one myself, and I felt like I was dying, and I had no idea what it was, but it was onset by subconscious anxiety. And so when you're unable to talk through or process that anxiety, it pops up in various ways. So it comments on this in this film.
We just want to take a look. You're amazing in this film, so let's take a look at one of the scenes of yours in the film.
We won't have to figure out where we are going or experience the uncertainty of not knowing where we are going. We don't have a map.
That's absurd. The only certainty we'll know is uncertainty, no matter where we are.
Naicha, Ocha, do you have something to add to the list?
We won't have to leave the people we love.
Well, we could bring our loved ones with us if we leave.
How? What does that mean, that we move the whole colony? What could that possibly mean?
So, as you mentioned, your character, Mayal, is really struggling with this trauma and mental health issues as a result. As an actor, what's it like for you? Like, how do you get into that? And what was that like for you to embody this character?
You know, I really connected with Mayal as soon as I read the character because having had that panic attack myself, I completely understood what it was like to go through without having the language or the context for what was happening. Yeah. And for me, it happened to me during the pandemic. And during the pandemic, I went through a lot of mental health leaps and bounds, learning so much stuff about myself that I just didn't know before. And having learned that going into the audition, I felt like this was a great opportunity to shed light on that and use my own experiences within this character to show that this is a process. People have anxiety, people have traumas, and it's important to find that support system within your group of whoever you want to be, whoever that group is, to help you process it.
Yeah. Amen. Well, Lainey was talking about the critical acclaim for this and also wins. And so last week at the Critics' Choice Award, Canadian Sarah Polley, she won the screenplay for Best Screenplay for this film, which is phenomenal. So what was that experience? I mean, she's been on the show before. Of course, Canada loves her. But what was your experience like working with her?
I have nothing but amazing things to say about Sarah Polley. She is, like, honestly the most beautiful person, and she's so intelligent and smart and empathetic. And that's just what we received on set. The set was the most supportive thing I've ever experienced. She was very mindful about people's schedules. She didn't work us too hard. People wanted to go home, like you were talking about earlier on the show, to their kids at the end of the day. And she made that possible for us to have a day where we were still able to have our family values. And honestly, I'm so proud of her for what she's done, what she's gone through. And to have her as our fearless leader, I am, like, so honored that she's at the helm of this show. And honestly, when you have the opportunity to see the film, it's beautiful, it's a visionary, and it all comes from Sarah.
Congratulations on the film. Good luck through award season. It's going to be really, really exciting. We really appreciate having you here.
Thank you so much. I'm excited.
Women Talking releases nationwide tomorrow, January 20th. Be sure to check it out.
Hey there. Wasn't that great? Do you know where you can find some equally good content? Our YouTube page. It's filled with discussions, debates, and some laughs. Head there now, like and subscribe.